Bonjour et bienvenue. I am Eva. You might know me from Bonjour Mate on Instagram, where I share everything about French, the language, our lifestyle, our culture, and things about France in general. I am French, but I live in Australia. I raised two little boys that are half Australian, half French, or they are Australian, half French. And I have developed a true passion for sharing my love for my birth country, France, and for teaching the language. Today, I want to talk about a subject that I really care about because there's a lot of misunderstanding around it. That is the French girl style. The French girl style, I think, is causing a lot of damage around the world, and I think there is a lot of false information about it. So I wanted to share with you my opinion, my vision as a French girl. If you don't already have a glass of something to drink, go and get yourself one, and then come back. Sit back, relax. This is about listening, hopefully learning something different, and absorbing a bit of French along the way. Whenever we talk about French girl style, there is one sentence that always comes up, and that is effortlessly chic. Être chic sans effort. And I think this phrase does cause a lot of damage, despite how innocent it may sound, because it creates this idea that French girls know about fashion and that they know better than others, to the point that they don't need to make any effort in getting dressed, and that we have some secret knowledge or a natural talent for it. And honestly, that's not true. I can generally speak for a lot of girls. That is not true. Now, let me clarify this. This video is not me telling you that I know style. Actually, it's quite the opposite. What we call French style doesn't really come from fashion expertise. It really comes from habits, little habits. Des petites habitudes. Des petites habitudes qui sont répétées dans le temps. That are repeated in time, that are passed down de génération en génération. And over time, those little habits, things that we copy from our peers, have kind of become a French uniform. For many French women, fashion isn't a topic of conversation. It's not a passion, and it's not something that they're interested in. And it's definitely not something that they analyze daily, thinking, oh, is this girl dressed in an effortlessly chic outfit? French women, though, do tend to dress up with intention, and that intention is not based on dragging attention on them or to impress, but it is to find an outfit that is aligned with who they are and their personality. The idea is to not wear a costume, but to wear something that represents who you are. And that intention comes from something very cultural. It comes from our relationship with honesty. You know that moment where a French person looks at you straight in the eyes and corrects your pronunciation very seriously, because they take it seriously, because that's honesty. They've heard you've made a mistake and they're going to be honest. That honesty that French people have is everywhere. Sometimes as a shop assistant that plainly says to you that that color doesn't suit you. Ça ne vous va pas, madame. These are things that French shop assistants generally say out of honesty to help you find the perfect outfit. Often, shop assistants in France take their job very seriously. They think that they're there to help you and to help you find the perfect outfit so that you feel aligned with yourself. The key idea is to reject fakeness. And so your outfit shouldn't be fake. It shouldn't be a costume, as I said before. And style isn't really something we construct in France, it seems, at least in comparison to other cultures, but more about something that we absorb. Observing, from watching what others do, and especially noticing what feels right rather than loud. The key idea is really the rejection of fakeness. So style isn't really constructed, but it's absorbed from watching our peers, our grandmothers, our mothers, and following that pattern, copying and repeating what they did. It's not really about having good taste, but more about having clarity on what works well for you without being loud, without falling into like mainstream trends, and choosing pieces and outfits that will last a long time. And this leads to a very French nom, the nom of using clothes to hide or to build an entire personality around those clothes. Clothes, according to French culture, should never shout louder than you. You should be the main topic, not your clothes. They should support you always and make you feel like yourself, but not override you or replace you. And the same logic applies to makeup. Generally in France, we tend to wear less makeup, or at least not as much on a daily basis. We still wear makeup. I'm currently wearing a bit of makeup. I've got some liner. I've got a little bit of BB cream that's slightly tinted, and I've got a lip balm. But we tend to use layers of makeup but stay thin. That comes from our logic around makeup. Our makeup is not there to conceal what we dislike about ourselves, but it's always there to enhance what we like about ourselves. So I like my eyes, so I tend to enhance my eyes. And sometimes I do a bit less on the eyes, just mascara, and I enhance my lips instead. Or my cheekbones a little bit. I'm not concealing, for instance, my grain de beauté that's rare, or my tache de rousseur that I have all over my face, because they are part of me. If I were to cover it all up with makeup, then I wouldn't be me anymore. And I'd be like a lot of other people. Copy and paste, copy and paste. When you approach makeup like this, I believe something interesting does happen, because you're forced to observe the good things instead of focusing on the bad things. Of course, some people have, skin conditions, and what I'm saying here does not apply to them, because when you have skin conditions, you have no choice but to do certain things to feel comfortable with yourself. And so obviously this is not a criticism to anyone that has this need. It is a comment about trends that we are seeing on social media, mainly on, I'd say TikTok is one of the worst one. See girls that are wearing so much makeup that you don't know if it's a filter or if it's makeup. Maybe it's both. And then that's when you start to wonder what is true about them. Maybe what they're saying is very interesting and very, very knowledgeable, or maybe they are sharing some good advice, being a good coach, and you really want to appreciate what they're saying. But it is really hard to put your trust in the hands of someone who isn't showing themselves truthfully as themselves, but hiding themselves behind a mask. So at least in French mentality, it feels like that. It feels like wearing too much makeup is hiding something and being dishonest or fake. French culture praises natural beauty and looking beautiful naturally. That said, it's never easy to look beautiful naturally. And it is sometimes a bit unfair to say that, because a lot of women put a lot of work into looking beautiful naturally. They might do a tiny bit of some sort of plastic surgery that's so small that you can't really tell that they've done it, but they look good and you wonder how come. So there is a lot of lie as well around that. And especially when women are exposed to media because they are celebrities, especially them. And often they are the ones that we look up to. So it's important to draw a line on the fact that there are famous French women and there is everybody else. So do not compare yourself to the famous one. That's what I'm saying. There is always an ideal of aging, for instance, naturally in France. But even in that situation, there is still some work done. Maybe there's also some financial aspect that some people have access to, and then some others don't. So sometimes it's a little bit unfair. But overall, as a society, French people value natural beauty and value looking more natural rather than all made up. So maybe you'll wear a bit of makeup, but your hair will be messy. You'll have a messy bun. And we don't intentionally do it. Like, we are not looking at ourselves in the mirror and thinking, I need to have my hair messy because I'm wearing makeup. It's not that. It's just how we are. We don't try and do it too much. We really like that perfection made up doll look. And this idea of looking beautiful naturally can be quite hard because you can feel a lot of pressure to look beautiful naturally. It's not easy. Not everybody wakes up glowing. I know that all women in the world feel pressure, and a lot of the time it's to look perfect, which means spending tons of money on Botox and surgeries and wearing a lot of makeup and having your hair looking always immaculately, perfectly groomed. French women don't have that kind of pressure, but we do have the pressure of looking pretty naturally, which can also lead to a lot of unfair advantages for some people, and also feel quite hard to achieve. So in France, the pressure really is on looking beautiful with a minimum effort, whether if you're talking about clothes or makeup or hairstyle. The good side of this is that it does come with a lot of freedom as well. It does mean that you can, in the morning, get ready very fast without looking like you haven't done a lot, because people don't expect you to look absolutely perfect. It gives you the freedom to remain yourself, the freedom of aging naturally without putting too much pressure on yourself, and the freedom to let your face tell your story, to let your body and your face tell your story, rather than erase it. For us, authenticity isn't just a value, but it's also a language, a way of communicating with words, communicating with your body and your style. And beauty, just like style, is there to support you, to make you feel like you are confident in your own skin without shouting louder than you, without distracting. And maybe, after all, that's what French style is. The idea of dressing up and doing your hair and makeup in a way that supports who you are, enhances the things that you love about yourself, makes you feel confident in your skin, so that your personality can shine through, not your clothes. Your clothes are just there to make you look and feel good, not to be noticed more than who you are. So this is my point. My point is that French girls do not know that they have a French girl style. They do not know that they have an effortlessly chic style, and they don't use those fancy words to talk about themselves. Maybe you hear it in Paris, but often that's from influencers that are maybe a bit disconnected from reality, or maybe as well foreigners that have moved to Paris and that now call themselves Parisians. What we are doing is repeating what our grandmothers and mothers have done, and that is to wear clothes and makeup and groom ourselves in a way that reflects our personality and support us, but not in a way to drag attention on us so that it shouts louder than us. There is always the idea, and that comes from generations and generations, that you have to look authentic, natural, and never fake. So never wear a mask, never wear a costume. And I think this is what we do without realizing, and this is what has become what looks from outsiders' eyes as effortlessly chic. There you go, these were my thoughts, mes idées, mes pensées on this. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think about the French girl style, the effortlessly chic sentence. What have you noticed while you were in France? If you do not follow me yet, please subscribe. This means the world to me and makes me vraiment très 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 heureuse. Voilà, bisous et à très bientôt.